Hello, all of you beautiful people from around the world. What is up? It's Josh, and this is our episode 2 after show for The Mandalorian. Whether you're watching this live, you're watching this on the replay, I want to let you know right off the top, we are going to be talking spoilers. We're going to get into the spoilers for episode 2. So if you have not seen it, get on out of here and come on back after you have seen DOS spoilers. And I just want to say right off the bat, too, I very much enjoyed this second episode. I actually think I liked it more than I liked the very first episode. Not to say that the first episode wasn't good. I think that you guys know, if you've been watching my coverage on it, I thought it was good, but not exactly great. And I actually liked the second episode a whole heck of a lot more, believe it or not. So I want to sort of just get into some of my thoughts, talk about some of the different things off of the top. But again, a spoiler warning. If you are out there and you have not seen this show, then get on out of here. And as I see people coming into the chat, I just want to let me know, what did you think of The Mandalorian episode 2? What did you think of the episode? And let's just kind of get into some stuff right off the bat. Frankly, this is all about the Baby Yoda. So I've seen some things online going on, and I believe it's going to sort of be polarized on whether or not you are down with the Baby Yoda. And by the way, I just want to say this too, because I've done a lot of videos this week and I've seen a lot of comments of different people sort of being confused by what I'm talking about. I am not talking about the actual Baby Yoda. Like, I do not, that is obviously not Yoda. You know what I mean? That's not Yoda. It's a Baby Yoda species, and we don't have a name for that species yet, and so I'm just referring to it as Baby Yoda. So I hope that alleviates some confusion about that. I also saw some people out there talking about how, what is the deal with the flashback that I was talking about? Because I was talking about how Obi-Wan could potentially be in the flashbacks. What's up, Matt? I see you, man. Obi-Wan could potentially be in the flashbacks, and everyone was like, Obi-Wan can't be in this show. This show takes place during this time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm clearly talking about the flashback. So I hope that makes sense to people. But I did want to clarify that again for people that are either watching it live or watching this on the replay. So I want to sort of just go through the show and go over some of my thoughts about it, and then we'll kind of go into Q&A and talk about the things that we liked. So first of all, like I said at the top, it's all about Baby Yoda. So if you like Baby Yoda, I think you're going to like this episode, and I think you're going to like this show. If you don't like Baby Yoda, you might have a problem with this episode, and you might have a problem with the show moving forward, because it really does appear that we're going to be getting a lot of Baby Yoda going on moving forward in the show. I personally thought Baby Yoda was awesome. I thought the CGI was great. It's really interesting, some of the stuff they do in the CGI in this show. I thought it was really good, and I also liked the way he was used as a not only narrative piece, but sort of as an action set piece. Like the way that the Mandalorian himself was sort of using the Yoda and kind of moving him around and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was pretty stinking cool. So yeah, again, if you don't like that, maybe you're not going to like the episode. I saw some people saying that they didn't like it. I saw some people say that they did. But the Jawas, right? Let's get into the Jawas. So the episode pretty much picks up where he's coming out with the Baby Yoda. He has an interaction with some Trandoshans. I believe they were Trandoshans, and it was pretty freaking cool. The action was really sick. I like how he gets injured too. You know what I mean? Like they are handing the Mando some serious L's very early on in the show, and I thought that was great. But then, of course, he gets over to seeing his ship, the Razor Crest. There's the walking fortress with the Jawas. I'm a big fan of Jawas. I always found them to be hilarious and some of the best creatures in Star Wars. And him just literally disintegrating the Jawas with his awesome rifle, that was some really cool stuff, man. Like, that was just... I don't know. I really liked that scene, man. He just blasted them, and they're disintegrating and flipping up and stuff like that. Very, very cool stuff. So I was into that. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. So he has that action set piece where he's trying to get on their ship or whatever. This was really well directed. It was really good action. And ultimately, he fails. And I actually like that, because I was like, what is going on here? Is he actually going to get in there? Like, imagine if the Mando, like... in a certain fan fiction light, you could maybe see them where he just jumps in, goes into the fortress, and just slaughters all of the Jawas. You know what I mean? That would be really cool. But instead, he gets to the tippy top, and then just gets blasted by like 8 or 9 of them, all with their electric guns. That was really cool. And so he lands. He wakes up. He's with the Baby Yoda. He can't fly his ship away. He goes to check it. It's pretty busted up. And then, of course, he goes to his new friend, the Nick Nolte Ugnaught. Now, I loved the Nick Nolte Ugnaught. I thought the character was awesome in episode 1. I was hoping we would get more of him in episode 2, and we did. And this was just really cool, man. I thought it was a really good way to use this character. They then go trade with the Jawas, and that's something that's like, wait a minute, what do you mean trade with the Jawas? Like, what does that even mean? How could that work? And why would you go trade with Jawas? But this scene was really cool. So, the Mandalorian drops a little line about how weapons are a part of his religion. I thought that was really sweet, right? And then they sit down, they're negotiating, and they're talking about this egg, and they want him to get this egg, right? He goes to this cave. They sort of drive him over there, which was pretty cool. Him like in the fortress with the Jawas was really interesting. And then he goes over and goes into this cave. Now, this was really, really Star Wars to me. Like just going into a deep, dark cave and all this mystery and stuff. And it was really well shot. And this dude's getting thrashed by this, whatever this is, this rhinoceros or whatever you want to call it. That creature thrashed him. That thing messed him up, dude. Like his plate was hanging off right from the first hit. We just I love the way they shot it too with the pullback. Rick Famuyiwa, how do you say his name? I always mess up his name. It's actually a lot simpler than it looks. It's Famuyiwa, I think. Famuyiwa. But the guy that did Dope, the director that did Dope, he's a really good director. He directed the second episode. I thought some of his choices were really great. So like you pull back and you see the blasting inside the cave, and then he gets flung out of the cave getting thrashed by the rhinoceros thing. I thought that was really effective. And overall, I kept finding myself in this episode not only really liking what was happening, but liking the way it was happening, like the way it was shot, the way the reveals came out and different things like that. It was really freaking cool. So he's getting thrashed around. And again, I really like the use of Baby Yoda where he's like pulling Baby Yoda away as the rhino's coming in and all this really interesting stuff. And then the big sort of reveal in the episode, the thing that maybe we all kind of saw coming, but it was still really cool when it happened, was when Baby Yoda stops this rhinoceros thing with the Force, and then he literally lifts this thing up into the air. And again, it's not just what happens, because like a lot of us probably thought that was going to happen, but it's not just what happens, it's how it happened. Like the way it was directed was really cool, man. You just see the little like green hand go up, then you see the rhino and he's like trying to get his footing and all this. Like this is just, it's really nicely done. These little touches end up really mattering a lot. And it's one of those things where like I was like, wow, like this is mind-blowing. I really, really liked it. I thought it was really cool. And of course, then, the hero comes and they got the heroic music. They're about to leave or whatever. The Ugnaughts like, well, fine, get away from me. And then he's like, Mando. And I thought that was cool. He gives them the egg. And then they chuck they cut the top of the egg off and they're all just eating the yolk from it. I thought that was hilarious. Like, I thought maybe they were going to try to hatch the egg and, purpose that creature as like a beast of burden or something. But no, they just wanted the juicy innards of that egg. And that's sort of where we leave there. And then, of course, we have the Mandalorian and the Ugnaught rebuilding the ship, and it was done in a montage way. Really cool, nice effectiveness there. The ship gets loaded up, and there's a really cool Baby Yoda's and Mary Sue. Nice. There was a really cool moment between the Ugnaught and the Mandalorian, where the Mandalorian essentially wants to recruit him, and he's really indebted to him, and you could just tell like there's a bond there. And I was really happy about that because it wasn't just one episode, and you could really see how their bond was formed, and it was really cool. It just, I don't know, it just worked for me, right? It played, and then it's a good goodbye. We're in the ship as he's heading back to deliver the bounty, and the Baby Yoda finally wakes up because the Baby Yoda was asleep from exhausting himself from using the Force like that. So he's headed back to get the reward. Now, here's the thing. Let me talk about some of the things that I really liked, and then I'll talk about some of the stuff that I didn't like, and then we'll sort of get into Q&A or just talk about the things that you guys want to talk about. Paige just finished the episode. Awesome. Let us know. Guys, by the way, now that everybody's kind of in here, we're getting more people in here. What did you guys think of the episode? I just want to get like sort of a metric for that in the chat. If you could drop that in there, I'll take a look at it and see. I don't really like looking at a lot of reviews before I do my reviews and stuff because I don't want it to sort of taint me. So I haven't really looked out there too much to see how people feel about it. My general sense is that people liked it quite a bit, but that's just surface level stuff. So let me know what you were thinking. So here's the stuff that I thought was good. I thought the action was incredible. Like, just hands down, I thought this action was absolutely incredible. Like, they do so much good stuff in here, where he's fighting the Trandoshans and he's 3-on-1. You know what I mean? And, you see 3-on-1 a lot in, like, action movies and stuff, and particularly in this kind of setting where you're trying to build up this anti-hero, badass character, right? He's going to win the 3-on-1. But it's cool that he comes out scathed. He's got that cut. He's busted up. His armor's, like, wrecked a little bit. I thought that was really cool. That action was great. The action with the Jawas was amazing. Like, it's really well written. You know what I mean? It's really well written. And I want to get into that in a second here because I think there's some parallels between what Johnny Fobbs is doing with this and, potentially some of the downfalls that are with the sequel trilogy, because I think it's fair to say that there's some stuff going on here that I think is so good because it's somebody's vision for a story, you know what I mean, for an overall story like that, right? But yeah, I thought the action was great. The music, again, just blew me away. This guy that's doing this, he did the soundtrack for Creed, I believe. And maybe he even did Black Panther. I got to check on that. This dude is incredible. Like, this dude's got chops, man. And the music in this episode, really good. It continues to be. I love the Mando theme. I love all the music. There's this little, like, flute thing that's happening, and then there's this chime thing that almost reminds me a little bit of Rey's theme that happens at some key moments in both episodes. So that, I thought the CGI was really strong in this episode, particularly compared to episode 1. There were some issues I had with the CGI in episode 1, but Baby Yoda looks so clean. Almost every shot. It has this weird, it almost looks like puppets, but it's CGI. You know what I mean? Like, it almost looks like a puppet, but it's CGI. Oh, yes, and Trinity, 2nd Street Marvel did remind me, if you could drop some likes here on this chat, that would be much appreciated. Drop them likes. Chop them likes, as we like to say around here. So I would say action, music, CGI, and the story. I felt like this was a really good story. It was just really good writing. It was a really tight episode. Now, let's get into some of the stuff that I don't like. And I just want to know how you guys feel about this, too. I am starting to get a little frustrated with the length of these episodes. This episode was even shorter than episode 1. It was even shorter than episode 1. And when you take the credits away and the 1 minute intro to the show, it's like real short. And I don't know. And someone in chat, please let me know if has there been any clarification about this? Are all the episodes going to be like this length? Are we going to be getting more length later? Like, my wishful thinking here is like, well, maybe it's just week 1. You know what I mean? So they got basically an hour of the streaming TV or whatever you want to call it. They got basically an hour. Maybe that's just week 1, and all the rest of the weeks will fill an hour. But it's twofold for me because it's not just the length, but it feels like the length, it feels like a rush to get there. The pacing of episode 1 and the pacing of episode 2 are my biggest problems with the show. Now, like I said, I love this episode. I think we're going some really cool places, but the pacing feels like a freaking rush to the finish line. And it's like, all I want to do is enjoy this just a little bit more. You know what I mean? And I think particularly in the streaming realm of things, we're sort of trained and we sort of have this, I don't know, like programming, I guess you could call it, to expect an episode that's about 45 minutes to an hour because there's no commercial breaks. You don't have to fit it into any sort of thing. So you can really have longer episodes. I tend to believe that's the model that they should have gone with this. Now, you can make an argument that in some shows, like in some of the Netflix shows, you get kind of drawn out. There's some weird spacing, and it doesn't need to be as long as it is. But I don't know, man. I really want some more length when it comes to these episodes. I see some people agreeing. But yeah, that's kind of the only real negative thing that I have to say. like I said, I absolutely love it. Now, there's a couple other things I want to get into before we get into Q&A here, guys. And I'll be honest, I don't know how long the stream will go tonight. I'm, believe it or not, a little under the weather from doing all of these crazy things this week. Like I was, of course, watched the Mandalorian really late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and did that episode and then woke up really early. Tried to stay up all night last night doing a stream. Had so many technical difficulties. I hate technology. I hate it. But yeah, I'll probably only go for about 40 minutes. Oh, dude, the new Pokemon is incredible. Let me just say that. I'll just put that to bed right now. The new Pokemon is incredible. Yeah, no sleep is absolutely killing me right now. So, like I said, probably only go for like 40 minutes or whatever. But the thing I wanted to address was the rumor I talked about yesterday. And this would be the rumor that Obi-Wan Kenobi could be the one that saves the young Mandalorian. And I need to like clarify this because I saw a lot of people confused, and maybe I was just so hyped up I didn't explain it super well in the video yesterday. But like it is a flashback to when he was young and his family is wiped out, we think, during the Clone Wars. Okay, so this takes place in the Clone Wars. It isn't the current timeline of the show, right? And what I believe, and what sort of Jason talked about as a rumor, is that what will happen is Obi-Wan and possibly Anakin, and holy crap,